Buying a home is one of the biggest investments you'll ever make. And when it comes to getting a mortgage, there are a lot of common mistakes that can end up costing you dearly. Today, I'm gonna go over the 10 biggest mistakes that home buyers make with mortgages and how to avoid them. Let's make sure that you're set up for success. Now, number one, focusing too much on the interest rate. All right, the first mistake is always focusing too much on the interest rate. Yes, the rate's important, but that's not the only thing that matters here. Loan terms, fees, and even the type of loan can impact what you're gonna pay in the long run. So don't get stuck only looking at the rate. Okay, the rate is subject to change. You can get a float down, you can recast your loan, you can negotiate with the seller to buy down your interest rate. So there's a lot of strategies we can bring into play here. Number two, this is a big mistake, assuming that you need 20% down, okay? Most people assume you need 20% down to purchase a home. And that is a huge mistake. There are programs out there, especially for first-time home buyers, that allow for much lower down payments. Don't let that 20% myth stop you from exploring your options. See, a lot of today's conventional and FHA loans are as little as 3 or 3.5% down. There's other types of loans like USDA that are 0% down. And then there's a lot of other ways that you can help to cover your down payment. We'll get into those later. Number three is thinking you can get a loan instantly. No, huge mistake, all right? Don't go to the store without your wallet. The mistake number three that people make is thinking that they can get a loan instantly. The approval process, it can take time, and there's steps that you're gonna need to go through. So don't wait until the last minute to start this process. In fact, start with your agent and then have the agent recommend a high quality lender who can actually get the deal sealed. Just because you know somebody with a loan officer's license doesn't mean that they're any damn good at their job. They really have to be vetted. I've watched a whole bunch of deals fall apart in this process because the proper lender isn't there in the first place. And sometimes you might need to get more than one lender involved to make this work out. Mistake number four is confusing pre-qualification with approval. All right, this is a big common mistake, and that's assuming that a pre-qualification means pre-approval. Pre-qualification is an initial estimate, but it's not a guarantee. Getting fully approved is a more in-depth process, and make sure that you know the difference. If you have questions about the difference between the two, ask your agent or ask your lender. But a lot of times you might get something that says you've been pre-qualified or pre-selected to apply, but that doesn't mean that you're actually approved for it. They need to see the whole picture. And I promise, if you go out there looking at houses and you think that you know what your budget is, you're wrong. You need to talk to your lender first. Big mistake. Don't be the one caught into it. Number five, not considering first-time homebuyer programs. If you're not considering first-time homebuyer programs, you're definitely doing yourself a disservice. There are plenty of programs designed to help first-time buyers, from down payment assistance to lower interest rate to all sorts of different government grant programs. In my opinion, they're not all right for everybody. There's some of them out there that I would just absolutely not recommend using, and I'm not gonna get into that here, but if you wanna have a little more in-depth conversation, the link's in the bio, so make sure you reach out. Some of these programs are straight up predatory. Some of them say that you can only get maybe 25% of your appreciation. Well, if you bought your house for $500,000 and then you sell it later for $1 million and you only get to keep 25% of that, and it's $125,000 of that $500,000. So the rest of it goes to the people who gave you like 15 grand. Why? No. They're not entitled to $375,000 of your hard-earned dollars. They are only entitled to what they put down plus whatever the interest would be on that. So just make sure you really read the fine details on those. Sometimes a good deal isn't all that good of a deal. Number six, wow, big mistake. This is a mistake. Forgetting to check your credit score is a massive oversight. Your credit score can have a big impact on your mortgage terms, so make sure it's in good shape before applying. Correct any errors to give yourself the best chance of getting approved. Now, you don't have to worry and wait to talk to a lender until you get your credit right. Actually, they're really smart and they can help you strategize on ways that you can change and rearrange your credit picture in order to get a better deal on your mortgage. So consult with the professionals first. Number 7 is choosing the wrong loan type. And that's a really common issue. Picking the wrong loan type can be devastating over the length of a loan, all right? There are fixed rate loans, adjustable rate loans, and others. Each has its own pros and cons, so it's important to find the right one for your situation. Not every loan is right for every situation. Not every loan's right for everybody. A lot of people got in with what's called an adjustable rate mortgage during the pandemic, and then 2 years later, when their monthly payment jumped up through the roof and they couldn't afford it anymore, they're losing their homes. There's a lot of foreclosures and pre-foreclosures coming to market right now because of exactly this problem. So definitely make sure what that loan type is and what it's gonna look like. It's different, there's a whole bunch of different types. Check with your lender. They're the ones who really are gonna be able to help you navigate that process. Now, number 8 is underestimating the fees. Oh my gosh. Okay, now let's talk about fees. Underestimating the fees can be a costly mistake. From closing costs to title insurance, these fees can add up quickly, so be prepared for these additional expenses. A lot of people think, oh, I just have a down payment and then I'm into the place. No, you also have closing costs, which can be equal to the size of your down payment. They usually come in somewhere between 1.5% to 4%, depending on a large number of variables. There's a little bit more to the picture than what most folks talk about. An agent like me can walk you through that process and help you to understand what those different fees are so that you can be more prepared and successful when you go into the purchase of your home. Number 9, not preparing for a low appraisal. This is a big one. You got to prepare for this, okay? And this is something that a lot of folks don't think about. You have to prepare for a potentially low appraisal. If the appraisal comes in lower than what was expected, lower than what you offered on the home, it could impact your financing. Always have a backup plan in case this happens. Now, a lot of times having a slightly larger down payment than 3% can definitely help you to absorb some of this if it comes in like 5K above or below. And it doesn't always happen all the time, but it definitely is something that can happen. If you're in a multiple offer situation and the price keeps getting bid up and up and up, and suddenly you're paying $400,000 for a place that was like $325,000, there's going to be an appraisal gap, and you as the buyer are going to have to come with that. There's different ways that you can do this. Private money loans, a lot of different ways that you can make up this appraisal gap, but be prepared for it before you go into the situation. This is number 10, but this might be number 1 in my book, is not shopping around for lenders. Not shopping around for the right lender can really absolutely mess up the deal. I've seen dozens of them get blown up because they didn't have the right lender in the equation. It's not hard to get an LO license, okay? That doesn't mean that they know what they're doing or that they're gonna actually be able to help you be successful. They're just allowed to help you put together your application. All sorts of different rates, there's different terms, there's different fees. It's worth taking the time to compare options and find the one that's the best fit for you. I've got a couple that I absolutely love that I've worked with time and again that go above and beyond for their clients and get them to the closing table. And I've run across a lot of lenders that do not have the ability to get you all the way there unless it's the simplest of situations. So having one that has really great communication and you find that your interaction with them, you feel educated and more empowered in your decision-making process, that's the one to look for. Different ways that you can go, but I always recommend personally using a mortgage broker because it's not a person that you ask for permission, all right? This is a person that's an advocate for you that will help you to package your finances and put together your credit and make your picture look exactly right. And then they take that to the bank for you and they shop around, usually to a lot of different banks and funding sources to find what's gonna be the right fit for you. There you have it, all right? The top 10 mortgage mistakes to avoid. Buying a home is exciting, but being informed can make the process a lot smoother and save you from very costly errors. If you have questions or need any guidance, feel free to reach out. The link's in the bio. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more real estate tips. And if you have any ideas on anything you'd like to hear me speak about, or you have any questions or something you'd like me to cover, make sure and leave that in the comments down below. I do read and respond to every single one. I very much appreciate you and your time. And if there's any way me or my entire team could be of any service to you whatsoever, please don't hesitate to reach out. Wink if you need a realtor.